Hello and welcome to Fine is a Four-Letter Word. I know I say this every week, like I'm so excited to have this guest, but truly, Chad Jackman, welcome to the show. We have known each other for a few years and he's finally agreed to come on the show.
Yeah, I'm finally at the point where I can come on your show, I guess.
Yeah, we
Yes,
talked
ma'am.
about that before, but
Yes.
this is, I know this is going to be so much fun. And because you're just a fun person, and not every part of your story, at least the parts that I know, is fun, and that's part of the fun of the show is weaving into all of these different aspects. So
Right.
let's jump in and start with, what were the beliefs and values that you were raised with that contributed to you becoming who you became as a young adult and beyond?
So grew up very religious. So I'm LDS or Mormon, as more people are familiar with. So grew up with that, and but big family. So I always had people around me, and I've always had like in the disc assessment, I'm like a high I, and then my next one down is a D, and so I've always been just this outgoing individual who just loves to have fun. But other values, fairly conservative growing up. You know, uh, I'm just trying to
Okay,
think of
so
what else. Yeah,
like
I'm like, oh,
what do you remember being taught about being a human?
about being human. Is this hey, the golden rule? First and foremost, hey, doing others as you want done to you. Um, and then just know really big know your place. So uh, I got beat down quite a bit as a kid. Just trying to live my life and find out later I've got severe ADHD. But hey, that's a whole other story in itself. But looking back, that's a lot of it. And then some other dark parts. I was molested as a kid, 3 years old, by my babysitter down the street. So yeah, I've got some demons with that dealing and whatnot. But okay.
3 years old, did you tell your parents? Like how did
Yeah.
that come out? Or is that something that you repressed for years and then figured out?
So my parents knew. So because it was my sister as well. My sister's 3 years older than I am, so that's how they found out. And it was repressed. And like I was always sexually interested, I guess, from that point on, which got me in a lot of trouble as well. But no, finally, like at 19 or 20 years old, like I was just having problems sleeping. Well, yeah, like problem sleeping with the bags under these eyes. But my mom was like, well, hey, maybe it was because you were molested as a kid. And I was like, what? Okay, hold on, what's going on? And
Right.
yeah, at that point, it started all just come back to me, and just I was like, wow, okay, well, that explains an awful lot in my childhood. So,
Did, did you get counseling right away, or how did you manage that?
count. Counseling? What's this counseling you speak of? Yeah, jeez, no,
Okay.
I was fine. I was fine, Lori. I
Yes.
don't need
Yes,
counseling.
you were fine. I'll just go into the army and that will take care of me. Is that what you did?
No, this is actually after I joined the military. Yeah, so right out of college or right out of high school, I tried college twice and dropped out twice, and then I was like, hey, let's go army. I was dating a girl, and her mom was a recruiter, not a recruiter. She was a reserve administrator for a reserve unit, and so yeah, went and was like, hey, that'll be fun. And it was a great time. Served almost 21 years. It was 20 years, 11 months, 15 days to be exact. The only
Not that
reason why I
anybody
know
was
that date.
counting.
Well, no, it's on my DD 214 discharge paperwork. So yeah, but like hey,
Okay.
so but yeah, geez, that's a whole other story in itself too. Jeez, I'd still be in. Like I was reserves National Guard my whole career, but there was blood clots. I got blood clots in both my legs coming back from a live fire exercise in Romania, and got back, and yeah, my legs were swollen, and yeah, if I would have thrown a clot, I'd have been
That's,
a dead man.
yeah, well, that's really scary.
Yes, yes, indeed, and yeah, so that's at that point, they kicked me out, like I was medically retired, and I lost a huge part of my identity.
Yeah.
So I was lost, and that actually led to the incident 3 or 4 years ago of me sitting
Yeah.
on
Before
the show.
before we get there,
Yeah.
because I know what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Talk about, so you were in the Army for how long?
21 years.
21 years. So
Yeah.
that was a majority of your young adulthood. And did
Yeah.
you, I mean, aside from your girlfriend's mom being part of it, how did you decide to do that? Like, college didn't work out for you. And was that part of your, background of serving? Was it a
Yeah.
way of giving service to your country? Like, obviously it
Yeah,
was
like-
giving service to your country, but I mean, given your family background of being about service.
Yeah. So I was the first Army guy in my family. Both my grandpas were Navy, and then I had a bonus grandpa, step grandpa, who was a Marine Corps guy. Then my brother's Navy as well. So I'm the oddball that didn't go Navy, but yeah, like I've always had a sense of pride in country. I've always been a huge patriot. Yeah, growing up, it's like out in the backyards playing Army. So that's just what I
Yeah.
did. Like, so most people are like, hey, what'd you want to be when you grow up? I was like, I've already been there, done that, and retired. So, because I started out as a surgical tech and a combat medic, and then I went intel, and then alerts unit. Actually, I'm wearing the shirt right now. Yeah, so long range surveillance unit in the military. Essentially, you go into the enemy territory and set up a hide site, and you watch a known point for a few days, and then you sneak back out and report all the details and whatnot.
What?
You
That's
don't really
like,
find out about missions we do.
that's like the stuff in the movies.
Yeah, so you don't find out what we do, or that we're even out, unless it goes bad. That's when you hear about large units and special forces units, like in the Marcus Luttrell story, Lone Survivor. That's if it goes bad, then you hear about it. If not, then hey, we're doing a good job.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, so I completely understand what you're talking about when you say, like, once you got out, you lost your identity. Because when I had my first business, the baking company with the gratitude cookies, and once I decided to shut that down after 11 years, you're kind of like, that is who you are. You have become your business or your job. And then once you're not doing that anymore, you go through a lot of questioning, well, who am I now? And what value do I have now? So tell me a little bit more about that. Like, you got out and then you had obviously you had no plan because you weren't intending to get out.
Right. Well, so at the time, I was National Guard Reserves, like I said, my whole career. A couple deployments here and there, but for the most part, I was stateside. So I did have a civilian job. I was actually a surgical tech for 18 years, and then I actually went on and used my GI Bill. I got my MBA and my MHA, went in healthcare administration for a couple years. This is all like towards the end, and so I had this whole other thing going, but this was a huge, like you were saying, this was a huge part of my life. So losing that was big. So and that had a cascading event through a lot of things. Just trying to find myself again, just trying to find that whole, fill that vacuum. I just couldn't. And so anxiety, depression, anger, all the things just kept kicking in. So my official retirement date was 4/20 of 20. Everybody was like, "Hey, I bet I know what you're doing retirement day." No, I don't smoke, so no, I didn't. But
I didn't even think of that until you said it.
Yeah, so 4/20 is definitely a fun day for me. It's my retirement date, not just a reefer holiday anymore.
Yeah.
But oh shoot, I forgot what I was even going.
So did you had this? You retired. You had this. I don't say backup plan, but like you had all this education and training to do something in the civilian world. But you weren't excited about it.
This vacuum.
Yeah.
No, no, I wasn't excited about much anything. And yeah, I just started sinking deeper and deeper because, like I was trying to fill this vacuum and just nothing would give me that camaraderie, I guess, and that esprit de corps, and like just because like you form these bonds with these men and women that you serve with, right? So I was infantry, and women weren't integrated at that point, so it was just a bunch of I said men. So, but in the military, it's men and women. But you form these bonds, and there's just something about literally relying and knowing that these people over here like have my back regardless.
Yeah.
So it's just having that type of bond with somebody is huge.
I can somewhat relate, but not as deeply as I know those bonds are formed.
Right.
Having friends. But those bonds don't exist outside, like in the veteran community.
Yes and no. Like I guess at that point I didn't feel like I belonged because I never had any like real major like combat experience, right? So I never went on a true combat deployment. So like all these guys like post 9/11, like I was in for 21 years, and like I didn't have an actual like combat deployment under my belt. Like I deployed, sure, but not to. Yeah. Anyway, I've been shot at in Africa, whatnot, and it's been crazy. And U-28 spy plane went down, and went out and surveyed that, and we're outer cordon security for it, and just the death and destruction that comes with that, which was just gnarly. By the way, it's nuts. Yeah, but it's crazy, but it's just being in that situation and just forging those bonds with these guys it's huge. It's massive.
And so what
But
happened? So you're trying to deal with all of this and this disconnection, which I think is a major issue, whether you're coming out of the military or not. In our society, so many people are so disconnected, but I think it's even more acute when you've been in a situation like what you're describing with comrades. That makes it sound like we're Russians.
The comrade. Hey, it's all good.
But yes.
Well, no. Well, and to
The
make it feel
brotherhood.
better, like American Legion, I'm still part of that. Yeah, so I'm part of the American Legion, and we say comrade, and like the head leader dude's commandant.
All right.
So comrade, commandant. So yeah, you're fine.
Okay.
And yes,
Yeah.
it's very Russian or German sounding, but
So you're
comrade,
you're
let's drink some vodka.
you're missing
Yes.
these connections, and how did you manage that?
Not very well.
Like go into like tell, because I know what's coming next, but share what happened with my listeners of how you dealt with it, didn't deal with it, what you went through in the next couple years.
Right. Yeah. So, I just, I tried to find somewhere where I belonged, and just couldn't find anything like that. And I didn't feel like I, belonged with the military community here. Like, so I live in Rockwall, Texas. It's one of the largest per capita, like, counties in Texas for veterans. Like, there's 6,600 veterans or something in the county of Rockwall. It's a small county, but so per capita, it's just one of the largest. So you'd think I would have like these bonds with these people, but I didn't. I felt like I was an outsider, because I don't smoke, I don't drink, and I don't cuss, and so like that's all these things are, like, hey, American Legion social here at the cigar club. Oh, okay, so I get to go and stink like cigars and come back home. Great.
Yeah.
Yay, let's do that. That sounds like fun. Well, hey, let's go drinking with a bunch of people and watch them get all drunk, and I'm just sitting here going, oh man, was this how it used to be? Because I was an alcoholic back in the day. I haven't had a drink since '03, but
Congratulations.
but yeah, thanks. But yeah, so I just had no connection with anything, and so like with the PTSD in the background, and this aggression and anxiety, depression, like all the things, like like VA red card, like was like, hey, yeah, you're crazy. I was like, yes, I am. Thanks for noticing.
Did they wait, they gave you a ton of medication, right?
Okay. Yeah, I'm on 4 medications.
No, I mean back then when they were like, "You're crazy. Let's just medicate you."
Yeah, and I'm still on. So I'm like, I was on 5 at one time, just to come down, and then I started going through like cognitive behavior therapy, CBT. Then worked with a lady. Her name's Nicole Coyle. She's more of a homeopathic person. So I learned like hand mudras and breathing techniques, and those worked fantastic. By the way, and I've got a couple meditations from Zen Rabbit because those are awesome.
Yes, customized ones,
which I still listen to. Yes, indeed. And I've turned a lot of people onto them too. So,
but did you get into that stuff before or after the part that you haven't told us yet?
After.
Okay.
So ultimately, what was the question you always ask somebody on this show? It's like, so when did I realize that wasn't fine anymore?
Fine.
Like, right?
Yeah.
Is that
right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you were going along, but wait. Were you even telling people that things were fine, or were you actually telling them, "I'm not fine. I don't know how to fix how I am, but I'm not fine"? Or were you saying everything's fine, even though it wasn't?
Yeah. Total denial. Like my wife was she knows. She knew what was up. She didn't know how bad it was. My mom knew I was struggling, didn't know how bad it was. And finally, just one night, you want me to just go for it? So one night, just sitting in a chair over here, just contemplating life in general. I had a gun in my mouth. And, I was just praying, hey God, so I'm still a believer, huge believer. I was like, hey God, hey, just give me the strength. Let me just end this. I don't know where I belong. At least at this point, I still have my service group life insurance. So I've been fired from like 9 jobs in 3 years at this point, and just struggling. And so I'm like, at least I'm worth $400,000 if I die. So take care of my family. They'll be all right. And it was real. Then my daughter, we share a wall like on my right here, which would have been just messed up because she would have been the first one coming in. But she started singing to her dolls. I thought she was sleeping. She was singing "Good Night, My Angel," and that was it. That hit me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, what the heck am I doing? Like I can't check out. There's.
Yeah. How old was she?
Yeah, there's. Oh geez, so she's 11 now. So she was probably like 7, 6 or 7.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like getting teared up.
It's like, what am I? Yeah, I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I can't check out. Like, I've got my daughter, I've got a little boy, I've got a wife, I've got a huge extended family. Like, I come from a family of 6 kids, right? So, like, my parents have 26 grandchildren.
Wow.
So like, I'm like, what am I doing? And so that was my big wake up and smell the roses and just, you're not okay. You're not fine. Because obviously I had a gun in my mouth. I'm not fine.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's extreme. What was the first thing you did when you said to yourself, I can't do this, and put it down? And then what?
First thing, I went in and I gave my daughter a big hug and said, hey, you need to be sleeping. Why aren't you sleeping? I'm glad you're not sleeping, but hey, let's get to bed, okay? And then I went in and talked to my wife. I was like, hey, I'm not okay. And she says, finally. And she didn't even find out about the gun in my mouth for 2 or 3 years. It was like probably last year. I think I posted about it there on social media, and she was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we didn't talk about that? Oh, I thought we did talk about that.
I guess we're going to talk about that now.
Yeah, so let's see. Let's talk about it. So, it was just, huge turning point in my life, right? So, and then from that point, so Army's real big on positive psychology. So Martin Seligman is the founder of Positive Psychology. So they've run a big thing with the military, and so we have master resiliency trainers that actually go to a 10-day course and get certified as a trainer, and then they come back to the units and then they teach and doing this, like suicide rates, alcoholism and whatever rates and whatnot have significantly dropped in the military, which is fantastic. So I started really getting into that, and just really learning mental toughness and grit and how to be resilient and how to bounce back, because like I was at a loss. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So at that point, that's when I started. I reached out to the VA. I'm in their Diamond Mental Health team down at the Dallas VA. Fantastic people, fantastic providers there. Even though there's a huge turnover rate, but hey, it's all good. They don't get paid for nothing, but they're still there and still help us out. But so yeah, that's where I was introduced to cognitive behavior therapy, and then I stumbled on to Nicole Coyle, who's a part of another mastermind that I'm in, Apex Entourage, and she introduced me to the hand mudras and breathing techniques, and that actually helps considerably more, because I was like you're saying, I was on like 5 different medications at the time. Now I'm only on 3. Hey, yeah. And,
no, I mean, it's progress. Don't discount.
Yeah. Yeah. So 2 are for 2 are for the anxiety, depression, and then 1 trazodone to help me sleep at night. But I don't like the way it makes me feel. I feel like hungover the next day. And so I don't like to take it, but judging from the bags under my eyes, I need to start taking it a little bit more so I can actually sleep. Because I only get like 4 to 6 hours of sleep a night. So I need to start.
Because you can't sleep longer, or because that's the amount of time you allot for yourself to be in bed asleep?
Well, because it takes me forever to fall asleep, and then
Gotcha.
a morning happens, and hey,
you've only slept that long.
I got stuff to do.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. So.
Have you ever tried breath work?
Yeah, a little bit. So I do have some breathing techniques, and then you had that guest back in March.
Leland Holgate Sr. He was episode 85, and that's why I was asking. I just wanted to bring it up and see if you, Yeah, fantastic story. That guy. Yeah. So I was actually checking out his website last week or 2 weeks ago. And I need to purchase a couple of those programs that he's got. So just to have some breath work going on, because I could definitely use some core healing like that. Yeah, well, I mentioned him because he is a veteran as well, and he's worked with a lot of veterans who have been in the position that you were and maybe are now in terms of sleep and anxiety and all those things. So I just want to bring that up because it was a great episode, but also the work he's doing is so important. So now that you've gotten a bit of a handle on some of these issues, how are you feeling more integrated, like with a community? I'm actually the adjutant for the American Legion Post out here. So that's like the equivalence would be like a first sergeant, but so I do a lot with the admin stuff, and so I'm pretty involved with it. I haven't been in the last couple months because I've been launching ThriveCore, so I'm still a big part of the veteran community here, and it's definitely it's nice to have a home. I bet it is.
And,
I bet it
people
is.
People that'll call you out and
call you out and celebrate wins. Both, yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
both.
so important, whether you're in a veteran community or entrepreneur community or any kind of community. Like, we all need people who will call you out and help you celebrate. Both, because and that's so lacking, it seems like. And that's why we have so much disconnection and loneliness. And I mean, there's many reasons, but part of it is not people haven't found where they feel like they belong.
Right, indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed, indeed, and yeah, and then it's hard to find a group that'll even call you out anymore because like it seems like trying to be, everybody's just trying to be that person that gets along with everybody. But no,
Yeah.
I need somebody that'll call me out on my BS and like get me back to my authentic me instead of me being a fake person that I'm trying to be.
Right.
Because that's what got me in trouble in the first place. Is hey, I'm fine, I'm good, which obviously I wasn't fine.
Yeah.
But I still said I was okay, and yeah, so it's just nice to have that community that'll call you BS and get you back on the right path.
Yeah, it's been a long and winding road. I want to ask you about where you are now with ThriveCore, but before I do that, I want to go back to, you had mentioned, so you don't drink, but you did. You were an alcoholic,
Right.
which is
Yes.
not part of
Well,
your
technically-
religious background.
Yeah, yeah. So the Amish have a Rumspringa.
Yes.
It's that like they have that point in time where they escape from the religion or the community, live like normal, and then come back or stay. So I equate my time
Yeah.
away from the church as my own personal Rumspringa from the LDS religion, and so I went out and lived an alternative lifestyle that I'm not proud of whatsoever, and I'm I would say I'm better having done that, because now I know I'm just more secure in my values and my beliefs because I've lived that other life, and
Yeah.
I've seen the other me, and I like this me a whole lot better than the other me.
That's such a healthy way to look at it, because so many people will look back at things they've done in the past and be ashamed and feel guilty for it. And yet it has, regardless of what happened, it's developed you into the person you've become now. And if now is somebody
Right.
that you're proud of and happy to be, and that's what contributed to it, there's no reason for the shame or guilt around it.
Right. And if you aren't happy with that, or you aren't happy with the life you're leading, it's time to get introspective and just figure out what's going on. Because obviously you're not fine. And before it spirals out and you have a gun in your mouth, let's figure it out ahead of time.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole lot easier to figure out ahead of time than on that night. So
Yeah. And everybody has to start somewhere. So that's where
Right,
your
exactly.
path started. So this makes a lot of sense of what you're doing now with ThriveCore. Because I'm not even really familiar. I mean, I know a little bit about what you've been sending me some stuff, some material that you've been working on. So tell me a little bit about that and who you're working with.
All right, so ThriveCore, you haven't figured it out, or you haven't heard about it much because like it's literally like just started.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, I finally got the courage to pull the trigger and say, hey, let's do this thing. So I've been working on this for a while. So ThriveCore is all about mental toughness and resilience, and finding that power to not only just bounce back from a fallback, but thrive from it. Learn from those mistakes and learn where your shortcomings are, and learn how to build off of it and become a better you. So that's the basis of ThriveCore.
How did you get to this point where, I mean, it makes sense that this is what you're teaching because this is what you've been learning.
Right.
How did you get to this point and decide now is the time to do this?
It actually just fell in my lap. I was chatting with a buddy of mine, and he was going through a lot of the same things I was going through, and I just sat down and just started laying out everything that I've gone through, and just I was like, hey, so this is what I've done, and so hey, let's get started. Let's help you, and so just going through that with him, I was like, yeah, hey, this is fun. This is awesome. I love this. This is something I'm really passionate about. And he actually told me, he was like, hey, yeah, you should teach people this because this is amazing. I was like, oh, oh, okay. So I started just playing around with it about a year ago, and then yeah, just lining everything up, and finally I started chatting with this other guy and joined his little coaching group. It's called the Immortal Man, and yeah, they were like, "Hey, let's do this thing," and I was like, "Okay, let's go." 'Cause, yeah, obviously, like it's definitely something that people need, and instead of being, taught by somebody who's not necessarily experienced it, but they're book smart about it.
Right.
Hey, let me teach you, and because I'm not only studying it explicitly, but I've lived through it, and so I know, and I can speak to you from real world experience, not just, hey, this is what I read in a book.
Yeah.
Which is a lot of what I'm getting, like what I got at the VA. Like a lot of the stuff that they've had me do has been fantastic, but like the mudras and whatnot, like they're not going to tell you that. VA is going to prescribe you more medicine. They're not going to get into like all this other stuff, like goal setting and hand mudras, breath work, meditation, affirmations. Yeah, they're like I've got 37. Actually, I got 50 affirmations now that I recite every morning and night. Yeah, like if it's not true yet, then reciting it in my head is going to make it true eventually. Yeah. So
Are you looking?
That's it.
Are you looking to work with other veterans exclusively, or who do you envision this program is best for?
So right now, small business owners and entrepreneurs. That's my big target. Also being from the healthcare industry, so healthcare industry and military. That's my background. Those are two high stress positions, and so I know people in both would benefit greatly from it.
Mm-hmm. The first responder community.
Yeah, first responder, like even hospital workers, RNs, doctors, just anybody really, who just needs to learn how to bounce back and how to, like, instead of wallow in sorrow and just get down in the dumps, take those as learning opportunities and learn how to thrive.
Yeah.
Instead of having them stumbling blocks, take those blocks and build a ladder or a path up to success, right? So,
Great.
Yeah.
All right, come on, Chad. My marketing background. You've had some experience in marketing. You cannot say anyone who. That doesn't work.
Right. Yeah. So my big
time.
Right. So my big top three: entrepreneurs, healthcare workers, veterans.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah.
And they could be all three.
So that's my
maybe
top
you
three.
combine. It's all
yeah.
three. It's entrepreneurs in the healthcare industry who are also veterans. There you go. There's your niche.
or like me, I was in the healthcare industry. Now I'm an entrepreneur, and I was a veteran. So I'm all three as well. Because like I was Blue Fox Growth Solutions. Yeah, that was all about automation and marketing and sales. So I got
that's typically what happens with entrepreneurs is that they best serve the people that they were a few years ago.
Right. Indeed.
So.
Because you can relate, you know it, and you can talk the talk and walk the walk, and because people, so people, buy from people. It's all about the KLT, right? Chad Holmes wrote fantastic book.
I'm tired of hearing about.
So no
like and trust.
Yeah, so it's all about no like and trust, but it's so true though. Like, because if I didn't know you, like you, and trust you, would I have reached out and said, "Hey, Lori, I want you to make this personalized meditation for me that I can listen to every morning"? And
no. And I remember having a sales trainer who said that people did not actually need to like you. They just needed to know you and trust you. And I did not agree with that.
Right, because they have to like you.
I think so too.
If I don't like you, if I don't like you, why am I going to spend time with you?
Well,
like,
and how do you trust somebody you don't really like?
Right.
And I
So
guess you
there
could.
might be those love hate relationships maybe, but yeah, I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't
But
know, but yeah,
so yeah, there's something huge about the no like and trust factor.
there is, and then you have to believe that they have the knowledge to be able to provide what they're promising to provide. So I think there's an added.
Right. Well, there you go. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that comes with the trust factor.
Yeah, I
Is like
guess like
I
you could
trust
stuff it
that
under
you.
there. Yeah,
Yeah.
trust that you can
So
deliver
yeah.
what you say you're going to. Cool. All right, we're gonna put a link in the show
Yeah.
notes to ThriveCore. And before we go, because you've been pretty chill on this whole conversation, but but I know that sometimes you need to get hyped up for certain situations.
Oh, always.
Always. All right. What's the song you listen to do that?
So I actually was just jamming to it right before the show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So my biggest one. So so music is my it's my jam. Like I have such a varied I just wrote or finished writing a couple country songs. I love rap. I love rock the whole bit. But my hype song is "Not Gonna Die" from Skillet, and it's fantastic. Like the second verse is it's where it really hits me real hard because it's all about towards the end of it is like this is how it feels when you take your life back. This is how it feels when you finally fight back. Let's see, how's it go? When life pushes me harder, what doesn't kill me makes me stronger, and that's a huge part of the message that I'm trying to portray right now, and that's that I'm trying to live, and I fully believe it because you can't just sit there and take it. You got to push back. You got to fight for your life because nobody's going to. If you don't care about you, nobody's going to. It's hard enough just to take care of yourself, right?
Yeah.
So if you can't take care of yourself,
Well, and
yeah.
I think actually, I think if you don't care about yourself, other people could care about you, but they can't help you if you're not willing to let them.
Exactly. It's like the horse to water
Right.
adage, right? You can't make them drink. You can lead them there all you want, but until me, perfect example. Until I finally had that moment,
Yeah.
I
Right.
wasn't ready. I'm you'd be like, hey, you need help. No, I don't. That's just going to push me further away and alienate me more from whoever's trying to reach out and
Yeah.
help me because I wasn't ready for that. I was too busy wallowing in my self hatred and in my aggression and
Yeah.
everything. So depression and yeah.
All right.
So
I was
you
going to
gotta be
wrap
ready
this
for it.
up with that last question, but you just mentioned something that I have to ask about, and then we'll wrap up. And you said you
Okay.
wrote some country songs. Have you
Yeah.
published music?
No,
No.
of
The
course
world
not.
is waiting for
No.
that.
I know. I'm working on it. So I'm really good at writing. So lyrics, yeah, I could throw out lyrics all day long. But taking the lyrics and putting it to music, that's where I struggle. I've got my guitar back here. Actually, let's see.
It sounds like, oh yeah, nice. It sounds like you need a
Yeah.
partner, a music partner for writing the music. And I'm just putting it out there, because the people, whoever's listening to this
Yeah.
show, if you know somebody who, maybe can't write lyrics, but wants to partner with someone who can, Chad Jackman here is available.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and no, I do have a couple of people. So Nate Burnham is a musician. He's an up and comer in the country western. We actually go to church together here in Rockwall. He tours the Northwest often, and so he's going to be helping me out, and he's got some really fun songs. He's really talented, but his drummer is his name's Andy Nelson. Fantastic, just he's one of those people that are so musically talented. You hate him for it because during one concert, he plays the drums, and then he gets up on the next song and he plays the fiddle, and then he goes to the piano, and then he plays the guitar, and then he does this and this, and you're like, dude,
Is there anything you don't do?
What? Exactly. So, but it's just some people are stronger at some stuff than others,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, it's like you make me sick, dude. That's just crazy. But yeah, so he's gonna help me out. Like the Stronger Than Whiskey. That's the song from the Facebook post.
Oh yeah, that's right. I
week,
saw
guess.
it on your face.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was so good. Okay, I can't
Yeah.
wait for you to
Yeah.
publish something so I can listen and support and
Right.
just say, hey, I know that dude.
Right. And so and most likely it's going to be just a YouTube channel where I
Until
just
someone
play
important
and
hears it, and then it
stuff.
takes off. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll see about that. I'm 43 years old. I don't know
Hey,
about
we're
84s
just putting it
my
out in the
future,
world.
yeah.
Who knows? You were
Yeah,
obviously
it'd be great, but,
saved from taking your own life for a purpose. We don't know exactly what that was
Right.
yet, but I'm sure it's more than one purpose. It's all coming together now.
Right. Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Chad, thank you
Just
so
time
much.
will tell, right?
Yeah, thank you so much for joining me today on Fine is a 4-letter word.
Hey, I am super excited I finally got on your show. I'm glad that I'm mentally and emotionally and spiritually all the things ready for it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what life has in store for me.
So am I.
Most definitely. Yeah. And I definitely appreciate it.